Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back for your daily crypto news and analysis. And we have a lot to address, especially around the regulatory movements happening within crypto, and also even now how crypto has sneaked into the presidential campaign move. So let's talk about this, but first I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. Just recently, we started to see a major pivot happening around these major presidential candidates, specifically even around the Biden admin. We have here exclusive Biden campaign ramps up crypto industry outreach in a surprising tone shift. And we do know that the Biden admin has been very, very anti-crypto for a very long time. And now we're starting to see the shift. And it's because there's well over 50 million crypto holders within the US. And they definitely want to they definitely want to cater to them. They want to bring them on as those that will support them. So I don't think that as we look at the space currently, I don't think that we can trust any of these presidential candidates, because for the longest time in the US, it's been very, very hard to get any pro crypto stance going or any even support around crypto as well, which is ridiculous. There was a great post that somebody made, and they were like, you know, Biden or Trump or anyone, they're all the same, you know, wings on a bird, right? They're all a part of the same exact thing. It's just that they're a different side, right? That's all it is. They're all a part of the same agenda. But regardless of this, we know that Operation Choke Point 2.0, guys, do you remember this? Are we forgetting about this now? Because again, it's been well over a year. So I think that they're betting on us pretty much forgetting about this, but I will never forget about what happened back in 2023. So we have here from CoinDesk, we have the reality behind the crypto banking crackdown. Operation Choke Point 2.0 is here. Banking enforcement targeting legal crypto businesses appears to violate the FDIC's mandate. It may also be amplifying financial contagion. And within here, we have the Biden administration and federal regulators appear to be using whatever means necessary to cut the cryptocurrency industry off from banking services. Critical observers have dubbed this alleged effort Choke Point 2.0 after a similar push by the Obama administration to cut undesirable but legal industries off from the financial system. U.S. officials have so far uniformly denied the existence of any such coordinated agenda, but whether it's an active, extra-legal conspiracy or merely an alignment of motivations, the evidence is increasingly clear that crypto is in the crosshairs. And we do know it is, right? You can't afford to not be a part of this Discord. You need to join the free Discord down in the description below, as well as in the comments below right now, to get ahead of the rest of the market with 24/7, 365 access to information around crypto, including insights, trades, altcoin gems, you name it. You need to be a part of this Discord. So what are you waiting for? Click the link down in the description below, as well as in the comments below, to join today. We know for a fact that it has been. And even Brian Brooks, which, by the way, big shout out to Brian Brooks. I completely focus on what Brian Brooks is saying, because he is one of the most level-headed individuals around the space that has a substantial background as well. And even he said, like, we are starting to see banks targeting crypto. We're starting to see those telling the banks, like, hey, cut crypto off. Don't support crypto. And it's all because of this anti-crypto agenda that has been floating around the space for so long. And we even know that the Federal Reserve has also been in on it with Custodia Bank. Custodia Bank got completely denied, and everyone was like, what is going on here? What's happening? And it's clear, crypto has always been in the crosshairs. Now, also over here, we have Operation Choke Point 2.0, how U.S. regulators fight Bitcoin with financial censorship. Now, regardless of if it's Bitcoin or not, it doesn't really matter, right? We still focus on what was really happening in terms of the admin, because now you can't just have this big, you know, shift happen and, oh yeah, crypto is very good, we support crypto, all because it's election year, which is why I say, like, I don't trust any of these politicians. They're all, you know, a feather on the same bird. But we have a January 3rd, 2023 joint statement on crypto asset risk to banking organizations from the Federal Reserve, FDIC, and even the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency noted that the events of the past year have been marked by significant volatility and the exposure of vulnerabilities in the crypto asset sector. These events highlight a number of key risks associated with the crypto assets and crypto asset sector participating or participants that banking organizations should be aware of, effectively serving to dissuade financial institutions from taking on those risks. and it's just ridiculous. But even here, a White House roadmap to mitigate cryptocurrency risk released on January 27th, 2023 indicated that the Biden admin sees the proliferation of cryptocurrencies as a threat to the country's financial system and warned against the prospect of granting cryptocurrencies more access to mainstream financial products, which is essentially a big cutthroat thing saying like, hey, we don't want crypto to have any access to big banks. We don't want them to have capital. We don't want to provide them with any liquidity. It's just insane to me. But this has been ongoing for so long. It's been ongoing, and we've been focused on this for so long as well. And it goes all the way back to, 2020 and beforehand. Regulators have been trying to cut this industry off since day one. And it's because of the risk that it imposes to big banks. Listen, if you get the retail sector to look at this space and, you provide them with an opportunity to earn 5-10% on their money, they are 100% flooding out of banks into this industry. When the banks are starting to see massive outflows instead of inflows, all of a sudden they are sounding the alarm and they're looking at where that money's going. And all of a sudden they're looking at it as, oh, it's going to Coinbase, it's going to Binance, it's going here and there. All of a sudden, they are raising the awareness to the regulators, to those that can target this space. And that's exactly what has been happening since day one. Now, Brad Garlinghouse did put out a statement regarding this. He said, if the Biden administration is actually serious about a shift and finally waking up to the crypto electorate, the single most important thing they can do is demand the resignation of Gary Gensler. And I 100% agree. If they really want to make a stance here, they need to get Gary Gensler out. And this is a huge shot fired by Brad Garlinghouse. Now remember, Ripple is still in an ongoing lawsuit with the SEC. Institutional sales of XRP is still in question, but what happens next? Well, James K. Filan, he put out a full report on May 29th, and this is Ripple has filed a reply letter in further support of its motions to seal documents in connection with the SEC Gov's motion for judgment and remedies. And here we have over here a breakdown from Wrath of Kahneman. There are a couple of key statements in Ripple's latest response to the SEC, and we have a few things, of course, discussed here. Often discussed, it's important to see them in print. First, they reiterate the court ruled that XRP is not a security, which is the court ruled that digital asset XRP is not a security, and so the price at which Ripple sold XRP was not the same as the price at which Ripple sold the investment contracts described in the court's summary judgment order. They add that Ripple sales of XRP is no longer meets the characteristics of institutional sales covered at summary judgment either. Note, this isn't an argument about where sales occur outside of the US. It seems definitional. We have Ripple is no longer selling XRP through the over-the-counter transactions with the characteristics that the court determined were institutional sales at summary judgment. Ripple's current sales of XRP to customers for use in connection with Ripple's on-demand liquidity or Ripple payments product do not have any of the relevant terms of the over-the-counter contract, such as discounts offered to sophisticated counterparties. And we have, so in their response, Ripple has restated the court's interpretation that XRP is not a security and on-demand liquidity doesn't require institutional sales. Securities they lost on earlier. Whether or not the numbers are disclosed, they reinforce these things as settled fact in official documents. So this is a huge blow to the argument that the SEC is trying to really kind of make here around Ripple's institutional sales. And in my opinion, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I'm not a lawyer, so don't take my opinion that serious. But I will say this, it seems as though the SEC doesn't really have much to go off of here. The SEC has been taking L after L after L, and I don't believe that the SEC is going to win this. And I think that the biggest mistake that the SEC did make was trying to go after all of these other crypto companies instead of focusing on their biggest win, which was against Ripple. And I think that they lost it completely. And we also have over here the XRP community. Two former SEC lawyers have opposing views as to whether the Ripple SEC case will go the distance. Big shout out to Subjective Views. We have Michael Dick here. He is the chair securities enforcement and co-chair blockchain practice at Fenwick and West. And then also Christy Littman, a partner at Wilkie Farr and Gallagher LLP, former chief of crypto assets and cyber unit division of enforcement, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. And check this out.
So, Mike, with that, will you walk through these kind of three rulings, Ripple, Terra, and Coinbase, that I think are, unrelated but have a significant impact on one another? So can you talk through those with us?
Yeah, I'll try to do it quickly because we have a lot of other things to cover, and everybody has probably been following these already. The first two, Ripple and Terraform, really the unifying theme is where we are with those is remedy stage. And that's kind of, an important part of where a lot of we are with some of these litigation involving the SEC and also private litigation, which is kind of a natural outgrowth of the SEC's plan, I guess, or strategy, if you can call it that, of just serially suing ICOs and other offerings, most of which settled, but the better financed projects have litigated, and now at the stage where really novel and important issues involving what the proper remedy and what the scope and amount of the proper remedy is. So for Ripple, you all know that last year there was a kind of split decision on cross motions for summary judgment. Ripple won 3 of the issues, and the SEC won the 4th, all involving different ways that Ripple offered and sold the XRP token. So focusing on the 4th, so the ones that Ripple won have been widely cited within in other parts of litigation. They're very helpful rulings for the crypto defense bar. The one that the SEC won was focused on Ripple's sales to institutional investors. Sales of XRP sold directly to institutional investors. The court ruled that those were unregistered securities offerings and sales. So that is what is being decided now, what the proper remedy for that violation is. The SEC is asking, not surprisingly, for a permanent injunction, as they always do. A permanent injunction as to not violating Section 5. And also disgorgement, $1.3 billion. I thought it was a mistake when I first saw it. I think people were kind of like, kind of when it first came out, like, that can't be. But yes, they are asking for that much, as well as a $800,000 civil penalty. Ripple, in its brief, argued that because it's changed the way it sells to institutional investors, and because it won 3 out of the 4 issues, it shouldn't be enjoined. So that's, could be one of the, and I think that's an issue that's being hard fought. It could be an instance where, a fairly rare instance, where maybe the courts apply some really strict scrutiny to the SEC's request for a beta law injunction, and we can get perhaps a ruling that limits the SEC's tendency to always want that, because if it's not, as Ripple argues, it's not needed, and it hurts them in innovating going forward as new technology comes along, and they have to worry about being subject to an injunction and potential having to come back to court and relitigate that issue again. And then their argument that disgorgement isn't warranted because, in fact, nobody lost any money on these particular purchases of XRP. Following, whenever that ruling happens, probably this summer, it's expected that both sides will cross-appeal for the items that they lost. And so everybody will once again still be talking about Ripple at our next conference, because it will be at the Second Circuit. Maybe we'll have a decision by then, but we'll still be talking about it. And then people will be looking closely to see what the Second Circuit does.
Mike, I'll say on the Ripple appeal point, I'll be curious to see whether the parties appeal there. I think there's some speculation that because Judge Rakoff in the Terra opinion explicitly disagreed with Judge Torres's logic from the Ripple opinion, and then Coinbase doesn't really address the Ripple opinion as much, but almost pretty explicitly adopts the Terra logic. I think there's some speculation that the SEC might just let the Ripple opinion stay there as a district court opinion and not risk, elevating it to a circuit level where they could potentially elicit bad law when they have otherwise favorable rulings in the aftermath of the Ripple litigation. So it'll be interesting to watch after the remedies phase concludes whether either party opts to appeal that.
So as we do look at this, right, there's obviously going to be opposing views every single time. Here we have some of the background behind, some of these lawyers, but there's always going to be an opposing view, because as we look at this argument, there's going to be that side that supports what the SEC is doing. There's going to be that side that doesn't. I feel as though if you have been following this case since day one, and then you look at how much the SEC wants in terms of billions of dollars, it's insane and it's ridiculous. But I do think that the SEC's argument here is ridiculous as well. And I think that the overall reputation behind the SEC and their actions in the past year or so really kind of speaks volumes of what they're doing. They're not here to, try to get answers. They're not here to work with these companies and, talk to them about what they're doing wrong, because Ripple as a company tried to get clarity multiple times and they never got it. All of these other companies never got it. So to me, This is not an argument of, oh, if we support it or not. It's clear to me that the SEC is in the wrong and these companies like Ripple are not. Now, also outside of this, just remember recently that there was a huge update about how the judge has ordered the SEC to pay $1.8 million in damages for abusing its power against crypto company Dapps. These are the types of L's that we need to focus on. And of course, Eleanor Terrett putting out a post saying new. I asked an ex-SEC staffer what it would take for the head of an independent agency to be removed. The answer was that short of impeachment, it would be almost impossible since independent agency appointees serve for a fixed term, not at the will of the president. But this person pointed out the SEC Gov is set up slightly differently than other agencies in that all of the 5 commissioners are confirmed as commissioners, and the president deems one of them chair, so the president could at any time theoretically name another commissioner as chair. I wonder if Biden would consider doing this with Gary Gensler after the Dapps debacle. And this is the big question. Will we see Gary Gensler removed? In my opinion, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it because at the end of the day, I don't think that the Biden admin is shifting their thought process on crypto at all, because we know that going back to 2023 and even prior, they've always been anti-crypto. This is just a campaign stunt. It's to gain voters. It's to gain supporters, just like we see every single time around elections. And it doesn't even matter if it's Republic or Democrat. It is always going to be the case. Both sides will play their tune, and whoever plays it better will pretty much win over the voters. But in my opinion, as we really look at Gary Gensler, is Gary Gensler going to get removed from office and a new commissioner be put in? I doubt it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.